A Woman's Job Guide 1. Chapter 1. Women at Work. Women in the workforce. Don't try to alienate yourself from male coworkers or expect preferential treatment just because you're a woman. Just do a good job quietly and amiably. Play by their rules on their terms, and sooner or later they will come around to respect you and stop treating you differently because you're a girl. You will become just another part of the crowd at work, which is what you want, to not have gender enter into it at all. If you choose to play the sexy card by wearing sexy clothing and flirting to get what you want, expect the demeaning and dismissive behavior you get when you try to act serious, and realize that according to the unspoken code you will deserve it because you can't play both ends and expect to star. You're either a good, professional worker or a sex object working a job. You can never be both and expect to succeed. Be friends with your coworkers and respect your boss as his subordinate in the workplace. He doesn't own you. He's just responsible for getting a job done and to use you in a professional manner to achieve that end. You can be pleasantly personal with each other in a superficial way, but from an ethical and professional point of view, he has no rights to abuse you personally, to make you his slave, his sounding board for derogatory comments, his domestic housekeeper, nor does he have any rights to get fresh with you with sexual comments. If there's a romantic spark, he should be mature enough to proceed slowly and discreetly. Anything less than gentlemanly behavior is grounds for sexual harassment. Treat your coworkers with professional respect. Become friends with them just like in any social situation. You find people like you and hang around with them, but there will always be a few coworkers that are pests who you probably won't like. Be nice to them, but don't promote a relationship nor antagonize them. Just let them know they can't play you by your serious attitude with them. Do your job with them and don't encourage a friendship, because from my experience, jerks will always end up being jerks even if they're nice for a while. Many simply can't resist being negative people. They get a thrill out of embarrassing others or embarrassing themselves. They say to get a laugh, but they're really just messed up people. If a coworker is too bad, complain about him to your boss. Many minorities and women in general are aware of their minority status in a world dominated by white men, so they're self-conscious about it, always aware of it, maybe to the point of oversensitivity. Be a good, honorable, competent, nice human being. If somebody gets in your face in a sexist way or what you perceive to be sexist or overly macho, play it cool for a while. Don't explode right away. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Continue being nice. If they see you're self-assured and not easily intimidated, they will probably conclude you've got backbone and stop. If it persists, tell them they're being sexist. It's illegal. You will report them if they continue, and if they do, tell your boss about the chauvinist. If the boss is a chauvinist, go to his boss. Many people have an odd sense of humor, probably gleaned from sitcoms, all of which I consider negative, derogatory, and stupid. I'm a total straight arrow. I'm pleasant, but I never joke with anybody because I know that people have their problems and aren't always in the mood for jokes. Plus, jokes can easily be misinterpreted and lead to uncomfortable situations. If you have a joker in your midst and he's really corny, ignore him, look away or walk away when he tells his stupid jokes. Maybe he will get the hint. Tell him he's corny. People will like him a lot more if he plays it straight. If his jokes are sexual, you could threaten him with sexual harassment. Some women are ambitious and want to move up, but don't really want to have all that responsibility and would prefer to stay in a predictable job where they know what has to be done, then leave at the end of the day to go to their families and forget about it. If you're this type of person and your boss wants to promote you, tell him you're happy where you are. Conversely, if you want to get promoted and the opportunity comes, don't sweat it. Everybody's nervous at first. Just relax and do the job. Everybody's only human. Humans have done the job before you. You can do it too. Do what makes you happy. Stay at the same job if you want, or if you want to move up, go to college, take some courses, try to better yourself, ask for more challenging projects, look at other career possibilities. If you're super resourceful, you might strike out on your own with a home business or hire yourself out to an employment agency to do work at home like typing, legal or medical transcription or scopist, which is translating what the court reporter does into plain English. There are other home jobs like lawyers who need people to summarize long articles for them or publishers who need people to write book indexes for them. You have to look around. Try hashtag 331.44-48, hashtag 338.64, hashtag 650.1082 or BV4596 and HD 6054.4 or HF 5035 at the library for books about women at work and in business. For books about women investing money, try hashtag 332.6409 or HG 4621. The workplace is not fair to women. The U.S. government has certain standards for women in the workforce. Refer to the Women's Bureau of the Department of Labor, DOL.gov. There is also the Fair Labor Standards Act. If you feel you're being paid unfairly because you're a woman, look in your local phone book under U.S. government, find the local or regional office of the DOL, DOL.gov, wage and hour division and report your problem to them. If you feel you've been denied a job because of your gender, call the Employment Standards Division of the DOL or the EEOC. A lot of women feel stuck as secretaries because even though they learn a lot on the job, there's very rarely any upward mobility. In such cases, you have to take proactive action. Take university-level business courses. Talk to your boss and personnel/human resources department, tell them you want to move up, ask them what you have to do and do it. If they try to dissuade you, quit the company, find one that will appreciate your efforts. Some women compete against each other in the workplace just like men do, except that women go beyond just ability and status to include beauty, coolness, flirtiness, popularity, etc. Try to befriend other women rather than compete with them. Federal laws dictate that women have an equal right to work as men with equal pay regardless of whether they're single, married, pregnant or raising children, yet cultural stereotypes die hard. Women still have problems in many of these areas, albeit most of the discrimination is now subtle, disguised through other issues. All women have the right to work and assert their rights in the workplace. Just because you're pregnant or raising kids doesn't make you less competent as a worker. This is a double-edged sword though. Don't try to be a superwoman. Play it cool. Don't overdo it. You can do both as long as you pace yourself and don't burn out. If you get pregnant or plan to adopt a child, tell the people where you work so that they can prepare for it and help you through it. Laws have been passed giving you certain rights during this time. Call the EEOC for the latest information. Your co-workers and boss might help you or they might alienate you. In either case, you have rights, so don't let yourself get intimidated if it happens. You don't have to get in a war with your boss, just try to negotiate a reasonable arrangement during the birth period. Maybe you can do some work from home or work a few hours a day or a few days a week. The Pregnancy Discrimination Act prohibits discrimination based on pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions in all manner of the employment process, from hiring to performance to termination. Basically, employers are legally obligated to allow a pregnant woman to work as long as she is able to do her job satisfactorily, and they have to hold the job open for her to return within a reasonable amount of time. An employer's health insurance must be used to cover pregnancy just like with any other medical condition. If an employer provides extra benefits for other medical conditions, then pregnancy must be covered too. The Family Leave Act gives workers the right to take up to 12 weeks of unpaid leave from their jobs for the birth or adoption of a child or to care for a seriously ill child, spouse, or parent. It also gives workers time to recover from their own serious illnesses. If you worked at the company for at least 12 months, you are eligible for these considerations and to have full company health coverage as well as a guaranteed equivalent status job on return, but it's only effective for companies with 50 or more employees, and workers have to provide employers with 30 days advance notice of taking the leave. 34 states also have family leave legislation, some of which is more generous than that of the federal law, so, once again, be sure to investigate. Some states also have good laws for new mothers, so check it out with your state Department of Labor. Many women go through an identity crisis while home with a new baby. They're torn between staying home and raising a family and going to work. It can be a very traumatic time. The bottom line is that it doesn't have to be either/or. You can have both. You can continue to work in a full or reduced capacity and put the kid up in daycare. It's quality, not quantity, that counts in your attention to your kids. If you decide to stay home, you might get depressed for a while, but take it cool and find a hobby to engage in while raising the kids. Learn how to be a great cook or learn how to sew. Some of the newer concepts today are job sharing, where two people share one job. Two mothers may be able to convince their boss to allow them to each work part-time on the one position. The other big one is telecommuting, where you can work at home on your computer and fax/email/FedEx/drive the results to the office. If you can swing it, all the better. If you really want more power, organize and either send women from your group to be nominated for political office by the main parties, or start a women's political party complete with your own candidates. You can start a rainbow party: women, minorities, and seniors unite. I've been reading statistics that say women are taking over the workforce. There's a higher percentage of women than men in many professions that require working with other people. Men are more loners. They're slowly leaving the conventional workforce for several reasons. Some start their own businesses, some become independent contractors for hire, some are mentally ill, some take care of the kids, and some are part-time, alternative jobs people. All the statistics say that women's percentage composition of the workforce is going way up. That's power. Use it to create some kind of political influence to get laws passed that favor your cause. The big one is working mothers of young children. We need better laws for daycare, time off, the ability to do some work at home, telecommuting, etc. Young mothers need more legal help and protection. Pregnant women and new mothers may not be fired blatantly like in the past, but quite often there is subtle pressure for them to leave. There should be a hostile atmosphere law for this. Women will get the leadership positions as men leave the world of work. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission Information Line, EEOC. 1801 L St. N.W. Washington, D.C. 20507. 800-669-3362. 800-669-4000. EEOC.gov. Call for more information about any federal employment laws. Middle-aged career chicks. A lot of women don't understand their biological clocks. Because they hear a few stories in the media about 45 and 50-year-old women having babies, they think it's no problem to hold off having kids and focusing on the career until they're at least 40, not realizing that the eggs inside of you die or spoil at a rapid rate past 35. The chance of having a baby with genetic defects increases dramatically the older you get, and chances are if you want to conceive at middle age, it will cost money and time at fertility clinics without any guarantees. Refer to my medical book for information on the subject. And if you want to have kids, don't put off the search for a husband until you're past 35. Men have this advantage over women. They can pass off their seed at any age. A woman only has a certain window of time in her life. There was a talk show about women in business who had been too busy with career to even get a husband, much less have kids. Set your priorities now so you don't go beating yourself if you're single at 42 and find you're infertile. Of course, you can always adopt or conceive artificially and be a single mother, but if you want a regular family, you'd better start husband hunting while you're young. Spend less time on the career and more time looking good on cyberdating websites and local social spots where you can meet somebody. Blue-collar jobs are traditionally better for meeting guys than some professional job in an office somewhere. A waitress in a donut shop is gonna get hit on way more than some marketing rep for some advertising company, so set your priorities straight. Do 2 jobs, your business one and the one as a cashier at McDonald's on the weekend. I don't have to tell you how men worship youth and beauty and how middle-aged women are thrown on the trash heap of the courting game even though men at all ages are always considered eligible. This is the double standard, so if you want a husband and a family life, don't put it on the back burner expecting it to happen automatically as a matter of rote, because it won't. Spend as much effort looking for a husband as you do working on your career. Office Automation and Working Women. This publication, Office Automation and Working Women, discusses the most important issues women workers face in the electronic office. Single copies can be obtained free of charge. There is a nominal fee for multiple copies. Contact Women's Bureau, U.S. Department of Labor, 200 Constitution Avenue Northwest, Washington, D.C. 20210, 202-523-6611, dol.gov/dole/wb. Chapter 2. A Woman's Job Guide. Career Resources for Women. careeronest.org/business center/recruit-and-hire/illegal-interview-questions.aspx, Career One Stop. gsworkplace.lbl.gov/documentarchive/brownbag-lunches/illegal-inappropriate-interview-questions.pdf, a U.S. Department of Labor presentation on illegal or inappropriate interview questions, PDF. InHereSite.com. InHereSite is a website that rates employers on how supportive they are for the women who work there. dol.gov/wb/resources/breaking_down_wage_gap.pdf, earned 79% of what men earned, whatever the sources of this discrepancy, and if you are interested, we encourage you to read more. dol.gov/wb/stats/stats_data.htm, Department of Labor Statistics. scholar.harvard.edu/gold/in/publications/how-achieve-gender-equality. careercenter.georgetown.edu/jobs-internship/salary-negotiation, our salary negotiation content. careers.uiowa.edu/students/salary-information-negotiating-offers. Forbes.com/site/daily-news/2013/1-why-women-must-ask-the-right-way-any-GOTIATION-from-Stanford's-Margaret-, Women's Center.georgetown.edu, Women S Center. Women's Professional Organizations. allwomenmedia.org, Alliance for Women in Media. McLean, Virginia. 703-506-3290. abwa.org/pages/abwa-home-page, American Business Women's Association/ABWA. Overland Park, KS. 800-228-0007. amwa-doc.org, American Medical Women's Association. Alexandria, Virginia. 703-838-0500. info@amwa-doc.org. aicpa.org/career/women-in-the-profession/awscpa.html, American Woman's Society of Certified Public Accountants/OSCPA. aicpa.org/career/women-in-the-profession/awscpa.html. Dayton, OH. 800-297-2721. Fax, 937-222-5794. info@awscpa.org. womcom.org, Association for Women in Communications. Alexandria, Virginia. 703-370-7436. Fax, 703-370-7437. info@womcom.org. awk-hq.org/home.html, Association for Women in Computing. San Francisco, CA. 415-905-4663. info@oc-hq.org. Always.org, Association for Women in Science/AWIS. Washington, D.C. 202-326-8940, 800-886 Always. Always@always.org. WIT.org, Association of Women in International Trade/WIIT. Washington, D.C. 202-785-9842. Crewnetwork.org/default.aspx, Commercial Real Estate Women/Crew. Lawrence, K.S. 785-832-1808. Crewnetwork@crewnetwork.org. FWA.org, Financial Women International/FWI. Arlington, Virginia. 703-807-2007. info@fwi.org. IWPR.org, Institute for Women's Policy Research. IAWM.org, International Alliance for Women in Music/IAWM. President at IAWM.org. InternationalInsuranceProfessionals.org, National Association of Insurance Women. NABO.org, National Association of Women Business Owners. Washington, D.C. 202-638-5322. OWIT.org, Organization of Women in International Trade/OWIT. Society of Women Engineers.SWE.org, Society of Women Engineers. New York, New York. 212-509-9577. WomenInAerospace.org, Women in Aerospace/WIA. Washington, D.C. 202-547-0229. WHFDC.org, Women in Housing and Finance/WHF. Falls Church, Virginia. 703-536-5112. WHF@WHFDC.org. WISglobal.org, Women in International Security/WIIS. Center for Peace and Security Studies. Edmond A. Walsh School of Foreign Service. Georgetown University. Washington, D.C. 202-687-3366. wisinfo@csis.org. WITI.com, Women in Technology International/WITI. Sherman Oaks, CA. 818-788-9484. Member-info@corp.witi.com. WomenPresidentsorg.com, Women Presidents Organization/WPO. New York, New York. 212-688-4114. info@womenpresidentsorg.com. NationalWCA.org, Women's Caucus for Art/WCA. New York, New York. 212-634-0007. WinOnline.org, Women's Information Network/Win. Washington, D.C. 202-347-2827. WNBA-books.org, Women's National Book Association/WNBA. Alexandria, Virginia. 703-578-4023. Women's Advocacy and Education websites. AAUW.org, American Association of University Women/AAUW. Washington, D.C. 202-785-7700. Fax, 202-872-1425. BPWFoundation.org, Business and Professional Women/BPW Foundation. Washington, D.C. 202-293-1100. Foundation@bpwfoundation.org. Elevate-network.com, Elevate. Elevate's mission is to help women advance in the workplace. FEW.org, Federally Employed Women/FEW. Washington, D.C. 202-898-0994. InHereSite.com, InHereSite. MomsRacing.org, Moms Rising. NAEF.com, National Association for Female Executives /NAEF. New York, New York. 212-351-6400. NAEF at naef.com. ncnw.org, the National Council of Negro Women Incorporated. 100blackwomen.org, National Coalition of 100 Black Women Inc. New York, New York. 212-222-5660. nwlc.org, National Women's Law Center. Chapter 3. Women at Work Resources. Jobs and Moms. jobsandmoms.com. jobsformoms.com. Working Mom Blogs. amotherandmomblog.com. amomandajob.com. amydavidson.com. babiestepsinhighheels.com. balancesboring.com. balancingtoday.com/blog. bestforthemament.com. blondemomblog.com. breakfastclubmom.co.uk. busyworkingmama.com. caffeineandfairydust.com. catholicworkingmother.com. shatansworld.com. chiefmomofficer.org. christianworkingmama.blogspot.com. corporatemoms.com. seatworkingmoms.com. diariesofaworkingmommy.com. diaryofaworkingmom.com. doitalworkingmom.com. fabworkingmomlife.com. foundingmoms.com/blog. guideformoms.com. guiltymother.co.uk. gumdropsandthebear.com. hansonworkingmom.com. happyworkingmom.blogspot.com. happyworkingmom.com/blog. healthywahm.com/blog. heymama.co. hipaciwannabe.com. genvtcourse.wordpress.com. latebloomermoms.com. lifeanddmo.com. lifeoanthjtrain.wordpress.com. lizziesamummy.blogspot.com. lizzymc.com/working-mom-survival-guide-blog. momafishsaves.com. mamafurfur.com. mamachefjosie.com. maybesometimemom.com/posts. mindfulreturn.com/blog. mmbmagazine.co.uk. modernmommy.com. momomagazine.com. mommakingmemories.com. mamatammy.com/blog. mommycallblog.com. mommyhastowork.com. mommyobjects.com. mommyshorts.com. mompowerment.com/blog. momtrepreneur.co.za. motherwhoworks.blogspot.com. middaylikeake.blog. niza.wordpress.com. ninetove.com. Not much fun for a working mom.blogspot.com. officemom.ie. outsidetheboxmom.com. pmelazimer.com/working-mom-blog. parentlightly.com. patriciavillasboas.com. peanutgallery247.com. pinkieshairs.com. reddit.com/r/workingmoms. redefiningmom.com. scarymommy.com/category/the-motherhood-experience/working. she's a workingmom.co.uk/blog. tacomaworkingmom.com. theheblessbarrenness.co.za. thefreemama.com. thegrumpymommy.com. thehappywahm.com. thelifaandtimesofttheworkingmom.com. themodernworkingmom.com. themotherhoodproject.com. theprofessionalmomproject.com. thesaltstories.com. thrivemama.com/blog. todayswarkothomom.com. womenworklife.com/blog. womonetwork.com/blog. wonderfulmommy.com. workathomoms.com.au/topics/work-at-home workingmama.blog/blog, workingmommagic.com, workingmommyabroad.com, workingmomsagainstguilt.com, workingmomsbalance.com/blog, workingmomsword.com, workingmother.com, workingmotherbalancinglife.com/blog, workingmothersconnect.com.au/blog/wmc-blog, workingmothersexpo.com/wme-blog, workingmoms.co.uk/news-and-views, workkidswine.com, you signed up for what.com, women's career events, womenforhire.com, career events for professional women, women's commissions for women. These government organizations create policies and laws supporting equity and justice for women. They might offer services to support women in education, work, and business. Not every state has a women's commission. Some states have several. nacw.org, nacw.org/region/index.php page =main, member commissions, the National Association of Commissions for Women. Women's networking websites. Meetup.com, livecareer.com/women's_networking_organizations.html, downtownwomensclub.com, a social and professional network for business women, local clubs. Women in the trades. The trades pay well. Many unions and companies want women to work for them. Go there to work, not to look sexy. CLOW.org, Coalition of Labor Union Women. NAWIC.org, National Association of Women in Construction. TradesWomenNow.org, National Coalition of Organizations on Behalf of Women. userpages.umbc.edu/Korenman/WMST/deathrates1.html, women and physically demanding jobs. awm.org, Association for Women in Aviation Maintenance. bluecollargal.homestead.com, bluecollarwoman.com, cdc.gov/lcosh, Women in Construction. chicago.womentrades.org, dwd.state.wi.us/dws/manual/nto/pdf/206_myths.pdf, myths and realities about women in non-traditional jobs. feminist.org/911/jobs/job description.aspfindarticles.com, article Hard Hat Women. greenwood.com, book called Blue Collar Women at Work with Men by Jeannie Ahern Green. hardhatwomen.org, Cleveland, O. ilr.cornell.edu/extension/iww/workingpaper.html, Institute for Women and Work. iwits.com, Institute for Women in Trades, Technology, and Science. jobjournal.com/article_full_text.asp?rdd=462. naemonline.net, National Association for Women in Masonry. new-newyorkc.org, Non-Traditional Employment for Women. new-newyorkc.org/forwomen/faq.html. northeasttw.org, Burlington, Vermont, 800-639-1472. reinventme.net. sistersinthebuildingtrades.org, Seattle, WA. tradeswomen.net, Portland, or. tradeswomen.org, Women in the Trades, Oakland, California. vavomenintrades.com, Washington State. witi.com, Women in Technology International. witi.org/center, Women in Technology Organization. witi4hire.com, Women. witnn.com, 877-306-9637, Women in Trades. womenintrucking.org, 888-464-9482. womenunlimited.org, Maine. wowonline.org, Wider Opportunities in Women. Women's professional organization addresses, mostly without websites. Feminism.eserver.org. Women in Business. Dead website, trythoughtco.com, verywell.com, thebalance.com/od/women's organization/tp/index womensorgs.htm. Type these names into a search engine to get the website if it exists. American Association of University Women, AAUW. 1111 16th Street NW. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-785-7700. Fax, 202-872-1425. American Bar Association. 750 North Lakeshore Drive. Chicago, Illinois 60611. 312-988-5497. The American College of Nurse Midwives. 1522 KST, NW, Suite 1000. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-289-0171. American Medical Women's Association, AMWA. 801 North Fairfax Street. Alexandria, Virginia 22314. 703-838-0500. Fax, 703-549-3864. American Nurse Association, ANA. 600 Maryland Avenue. SW, Suite 100 West. Washington, D.C. 20024. 202-554-4444. Fax, 202-554-2262. American Women in Radio and Television. 1101 Connecticut Avenue, NW. Suite 100. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-429-5102. Fax, 202-223-4579. Association for Women in Science. 1522 K Street, NW. Suite 820. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-408-0742. Association of Junior Leagues. 660 First Avenue. New York, New York 10016-3241. 212-683-1515. Fax, 212-481-7196. The Black Women Physicians Project. 3300 Henry Avenue. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19129. 215-842-7124. Business and Professional Women /USA, BPW /USA. 2012 Massachusetts Avenue, NW. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-293-1100. Fax, 202-861-0298. The National Federation of Business and Professional Women, BPW/USA, is the bipartisan voice of working women. BPW/USA promotes full participation, equity, and economic self-sufficiency for women. Catalyst. 250 Park Avenue. New York, New York 10003. 212-777-8900. Catalyst is a national nonprofit organization that works with business to effect change for women through research, advisory services, and communication. Coalition of Labor Union Women, CLUW. 15 Union Square. New York, New York 10003. 212-242-0700. Fax, 212-255-7230. A national organization of trade unionists, women and men representing more than 60 unions dedicated to furthering the role of women in the labor movement and the world of work. Federally employed women, few. 1400 I Street, NW. Suite 425. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-898-0700. 0994. Fax, 202-898-0998. International Network of Women in Technology, WITI. 4641 Burnett Avenue, Sherman Oaks, California, 91403. 818-990-1987. National Association for Female Executives. 127 West 24th Street, New York, New York, 10011. 927 15th Street NW. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-289-8538. Fax, 202-289-3743. National Association for Women in Education. 202-659-9330. National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club Incorporated. 1806 New Hampshire Avenue NW. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-483-4206. Fax, 202-462-7253. An association addressing the injustice in education, equal rights, poverty, and economic development. National Association of Women Business Owners. 1001 Pennsylvania Avenue NW. Suite 435N. Washington, D.C. 20004. National Federation of Business and Professional Women, BPW/USA. 2012 Massachusetts Avenue NW. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-293-1100. National Hookup of Black Women Incorporated. 5117 South University Avenue, Chicago, Illinois 60615. 312-643-5866. Hookup is a volunteer organization with no paid employees and is supported by our membership dues and chapter donations. We believe our work impacts upon our future. We provide a support base for all Black women who serve in political office and organizational leadership. National Women's Economic Alliance Foundation. 202-393-5257. 1440 New York Avenue NW, Suite 300. Washington, D.C. 20005. Place more senior-level women on corporate boards and to promote dialogue among men and women in government, industry, and business. National Women's Studies Association. University of Maryland. College Park, Maryland 20742-1325. 301-405-5573. The National Women's Studies Association actively supports and promotes feminist education and feminist educators at every educational level and in every education setting, through conferences, publications, and a variety of member services. 9-5 National Association of Working Women. 614 Superior NW, Suite 852. Cleveland, Ohio 44113. 216-566-9308. Fax, 216-566-0192. A national advocacy and research organization which empowers women to seek equity on the job and change policies. Professional Commies Zion on Women in the Profession. American Medical Women's Association. 801 North Fairfax Street, Suite 400. Alexandria, Virginia 22314. 703-838-0500. Society for Human Resource Management. 606 North Washington Street. Alexandria, Virginia 22314. 800-331-2772. shrm.org. Soroptimist International of the Americas. 1616 Walnut Street. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19103. 215-732-0512. Fax, 215-732-7508. Soroptimist International of the Americas is part of Soroptimist International, the world's largest classified service organization for executive and professional women. Women in Communication Incorporated. 2101 Wilson Boulevard, Suite 417. Arlington, Virginia 22201. 703-528-4200. Fax, 703-528-4205. Women's International Public Health Network. 7100 Oak Forest Lane, Bethesda, Maryland 20817. 301-469-9210. Fax, 301-469-8423. The Women's International Public Health Network, WIPN, is a non-profit organization for women in public health and related areas to improve women's health, nutrition, and status worldwide. shemdaye.com/learn, make money online, become a YouTube star, etc. Chapter 4. Minority Women in Business and Work Resources. Minority Women Business Job Websites. 1. Advancementproject.org, Advancement Project. AAWOMQ.org, Albanian American Women's Organization. AmnestyUSA.org/women, Amnesty International USA Women's Human Rights Program. BISA-HQ.org, Black Women in Sisterhood for Action, BISA. BWUFA.org, Black Women United for Action. CABWHP.org, California Black Women's Health Project. Chicaluna.com, Chicaluna Productions. Chicanas.com, Chicana Feminist Page. CS.org, Cultural Survival, promoting the rights, voices, and visions of indigenous peoples. EngageHer.org, Engage Her. IndigenousWomen.org, Indigenous Women's Network. Latinitasmagazine.org, Latinitas Magazine. LatinaInstitute.org, Latinas Unidas. SisterSong.net, Sister Song. Soyunica.gov, Soyunica. Soy Latina. NapaWF.org, the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum. TheWomen'sMosaic.org, The Women's Mosaic. Tolerance.org, Tolerance.org. ColoredGirls.org, Women of Color Resource Center. Minority Women Business Job Websites. 2. 3blackchicks.com, 3blackchicks.reviewflix. The site started in 1999 with a simple question: why are there no nationally known black movie reviewers? The site offers movie reviews, often reviews of the same film by more than one reviewer, illustrating their very reasonable contention that we are not a monolith. 4woman.org, National Women's Health Information Center, also called 4women.gov, this site offers many links to women's health information to lay people and health professionals. 4woman.org/minority/index.htm, Minority Women. AAAS.org/publications/books_reports/itw, Preparing Women and Minorities for the IT Workforce, The Role of Non-Traditional Educational Pathways, a 2005 study by the AAAS that examines the surprisingly large role that non-traditional educational pathways play in preparing women and underrepresented minorities for the information technology IT workforce. africabib.org/women.html, African Women's Bibliographic Database, librarian and Africa specialist Davis Bullwinkle has compiled this very extensive, searchable database of English language materials from 1986 to the present on African women. AfricanAmericanFemaleCommunication.com, African American Female Communication, Barbara Hill Hudson, Professor Emerita of English and author of African American Female Speech Communities, Varieties of Talk. AfricanWomenInCinema.org/afwc/home.html, African Women in Cinema. This valuable website provides extensive information about the works, thoughts, and practices of African women in the various aspects of cinema. AfroL.com/categories/women, AfroL.com, Gender, the Gender section under More Topics of the African portal site AfroL.com offers news coverage of women in Africa. alef.org/IPC/IPF011705.ASP, Today's Immigrant Woman Entrepreneur, a 2004 study that drive. allafrica.com/women, All-Africa, Women. All-Africa has added a separate section on women that includes extensive, current news about women in Africa. amnesty.usa.org/stop_violence_genital_mutilation/page.do?n1 female genital mutilation. This web page from the human rights organization Amnesty International discusses female genital mutilation (FGM), also known as clitoridectomy or female circumcision. asiatica.org/jsaw/index.php, Journal of South Asia Women's Studies, current and back issues containing articles about women's issues in South Asia. bgelhouse.com/journals/00551C876CC2F027.html, Journal of Women and Minorities in Science and Engineering. blackgirl.org, Black Girl International, site describes itself as the internet resource for black women. blackstereotype.com/blacklist, The Blacklist, a list of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered people of African descent. blackwomenshealth.com, blackwomenshealth.com, information about women's health with a focus on black women. bridge.ids.ac.uk, Bridge, this site, based in England, supports gender advocacy and mainstreaming efforts by bridging the gaps between theory, policy, and practice with accessible and diverse gender information. chicanas.com, Making Face, Making Soul, a Chicana feminist homepage. Susana Gallardo's site offers a wealth of resources about Chicana life, biographies, bibliographies, syllabi, literature, other cultural resources, and more. clnet.sscnet.ucla.edu/women/womenhp.html, CLNET's Chicana Studies homepage, information on Chicanas and Latinas, including interviews, announcements, discussion topics, resources, related web links, and more. cshe.berkeley.edu/publications/docs/na-epaper.pdf, The Lives and Careers of Minority Women Scientists, detailed summary of a study by N.J. digital.nypl.org/Schomburg/writers_A19, African American women writers of the 19th century. The Schomburg Center has made available this extraordinary digital collection of 52 published works by 19th century black women writers. digital-sisters.org, Digital Sisters. Digital Sisters has been created to promote and provide technology education and enrichment for young girls and women of color. ldis.org/cf/doc-display.cfm?doc=doc 198882 resource F1 Women's ICT-based enterprise for development, case studies page, a set of 12 analytical case studies of the women's IT sector enterprises in developing countries. ldis.org/gender/index.htm, Eldis Gender Resource Guide, Eldis, hosted by the Institute for Development Studies at the University of Sussex in England, describes itself as a gateway to information on development issues. ldis.org/gender/index.htm, Gender Resource Guide, from an international perspective. fao.org/dimitra/html/n/welcomeguest.html, The Dimitra Project, Rural Women and Development, a Belgium-based project, supported by the United Nations, designed to contribute to improvement of living conditions of rural women around the world through dissemination of information. feministafrica.org, Feminist Africa, this site offers full-text issues of Feminist Africa. femnoir.net, Femnoir, resource-rich site whose content focuses primarily on lesbians of color but also includes attention to non-lesbian identified women of color. fempress.cl, Fempress, monthly Spanish language magazine devoted to women's issues and to more fairness between women and men. FGMnetwork.org, Female Genital Mutilation Education and Networking Project. Marianne Sarkis site offers extensive resources for research, teaching, and activism regarding female genital mutilation, including a bibliography, information about films, legislation, health concerns, religious issues, email lists, and more. focusintl.com/widnet.htm, Widnet Women in Development Network, bilingual English/French site offering statistics and other information about women's. fordham.edu/halsall/women/womensbook.html, Internet Women's History Sourcebook, Paul Halsall's awesome, vast resource for online material on women's history, beginning in prehistoric times and working its way, area by area and issue by issue, to modern times. fr.allafrica.com/women, and Fran and Xadil, a/in French. free.freespeech.org/Manus Manashi, a journal about women and society, articles from the journal, based in India, and links to other sites. globetrotter.berkeley.edu/globalgender, International Gender Studies Resources. This valuable website from Berkeley's Institute for International Studies offers research and teaching materials meant to facilitate the integration of women's and gender studies into international area studies. home.earthlink.net/Sharon H/womensbiography.htm, women's biography sites. This useful site created by Sharon Hushka provides links to more than 250 women's biography websites. igrc.info, Indian Gender Resource Center, resources concerning women and gender issues in India, as well as lists of gender resources internationally. isiswomen.org, ISIS International, Manila. ISIS International is a feminist NGO non-governmental organization dedicated to women's information and communication needs. isiswomen.org, ISIS International, that covers a broad range of issues affecting women globally, with special emphasis on the needs and concerns of women in the global south. isiswomen.org/pub/wea/index.htm, Women in Action. Women in Action is a triannual publication from Philippines-based. isiswomen.org/pub/wea/index.htm, Women in Action. isp.msu.edu/wid, Women and International Development Program MSU, a valuable collection of resources from the WID program at Michigan State University. iupui.edu/AWS, Association of African Women Scholars, organization devoted to promoting excellence in scholarship, networking, and activism. iwhc.org, International Women's Health Coalition. The IWHC works to generate health and population policies, programs, and funding that promote and protect the rights and health of girls and women worldwide, particularly in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and countries in post-socialist transition. janah.org/sisters, Muslim women's homepage. Huma Ahmed's site offers extensive links to information about the true stance Islam takes on gender issues and the role of women. gendajournal.com, Genda, a journal of culture and African women's studies, a peer-reviewed journal devoted to the promotion of research and scholarship of African women to the global African community and Friends of Africa. Kamut.com/Kalrana/women, Women of India. This site offers coverage of wide-ranging topics on the history and status of women in India over the centuries. Karamah.org, Karamah, Muslim Women Lawyers for Human Rights. Karamah focuses on domestic and global issues of human rights for Muslims, with particular emphasis on Muslim women. Latinitasmagazine.com, Latinitas describes itself as the webzine for Latina girls. law-lib.utoronto.ca/Diana, Diana, International Human Rights Database, a collaborative database of electronic materials essential to human rights research. Learningpartnership.org, Women's Learning Partnership for Rights, Development, and Peace. Women's Learning Partnership is an international organization dedicated to women's leadership and empowerment. lib.berkeley.edu/sceal/southeastasia/ctabl.html, Southeast Asia Women's Studies Bibliography. This excellent resource from the UC Berkeley Library lists reference materials, books, journal articles, and websites for scholarly research related to women in Brunei, Burma/Myanmar, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. lib.jj.cuny.edu/research/domestic violence, bibliographic references for multicultural perspectives on domestic violence in the U.S., sociologist Natalie J. library.cornell.edu/coldev/mideast/women.htm, Middle East and Islamic Studies Collection, Women and Gender Issues, links to news articles, essays, and other online material about women and gender in the Middle East, put together by a specialist bibliographer at the Cornell University Library. library.duke.edu/rubinstein/collection/digitized/African-American-women, African-American women, online archival collections, scanned images of manuscript pages and full text of the writings of African-American. library.ucsb.edu/subjects/Black Feminism, Black American Feminism, a multidisciplinary bibliography, University. library.wisc.edu/libraries/women's-studies/native.htm, Native American and other ethnic women on the www, part of the excellent University of Wisconsin System Women's Studies Librarians site. This page provides annotated links to a number of Native American sites that include substantial information about women. math.buffalo.edu/mad/wmat0.html, Black Women in Mathematics. This site, created and maintained by mathematics professor Scott W. Members Dead website/octorsmall/wlppfp1.htm, Women's Legal Issues in Africa. Resources of use to participants in the Legal Advocacy for Women in Africa program at Georgetown Law School and others interested in these issues. MuslimWomenStudies.com, Muslim Women's Studies, sponsored by the Zahira Abdin Chair for the Study of Women and Gender. This website offers a number of essays that combine women's studies with a focus on Islam. MWLUSA.org, Muslim Women's League, website of a non-profit American Muslim organization working to implement the values of Islam and thereby reclaim the status of women as free, equal, and vital contributors to society. news.xinhua.com/english/2005-08/24/content_3396107.htm, Gender Equality and Women's Development in China. The Information Office of China State Council issued this white paper in August 2005. Noticiasdemujer.com, Servicio de Noticias de la Mujer/Women's News Service, a bilingual Spanish/English site that specializes in reporting on women and gender issues in Latin America. Online womninpolitics.org/index.htm, online womninpolitics.org. This website, managed by the Center for Asia-Pacific Women in Politics, provides news, statistics, resources, and other information concerning women's participation in politics, governance, and decision-making internationally. Or wh.od.nih.gov/pub/women-of-color-2006.pdf, Women of Color Health Data Book, provided by the National Institutes of Health. This 178-page PDF document offers extensive information intended to help policymakers and women's health advocates understand the health status of women of color and assist them in addressing their needs. people.mils.edu/spertus/gender/wom_and_min.html, Women and Minorities in Science and Engineering, extensive collection of links put together by Ellen Spertus. RAWA.org, RAWA, Revolutionary Association of the Women of Afghanistan, pro-human rights, anti-fundamentalist activist site. ReproductiveRights.org, Center for Reproductive Rights. The Center for Reproductive Rights is an independent, non-profit organization dedicated to ensuring that all women have access to appropriate and freely chosen reproductive health services. RIMAweb.com.ar, RIMA, Red Informativa de Mujeres de Argentina. This is the Spanish-language site for the Argentinian Women's Information Network. Sakyadhita.org, Sakyadhita, International Association of Buddhist Women, information about women in Buddhism and related links. Sonnet.org, Sonnet South Asian women's issues, news, and information about books, films, health, electronic resources, and more. sils.rutgers.edu/cybers, Women of Color, Women of Words. This site, created by performing arts librarian Angela E. Sistermentors.org, Sister Mentors. Sister Mentors is a project that helps women of color doctoral candidates to complete their dissertations and get their PhDs. umbc.edu/wmst/woc.html, Women of Color Resources, UMBC and beyond. Though it may seem egocentric or circular or both, I've included this link because it brings together several women of color resources, annotated listings of websites, email lists, and new or changed academic links. un.org.in/we.htm, Women in India, How Free, How Equal, an independent, analytical report commissioned by the United Nations in 2001. un.org/WomenWatch, Women Watch, the UN Internet Gateway on the Advancement and Empowerment of Women. unfpa.org/swp/swpmain.htm, The State of World Population 2000, released in September 2000. This annual report of the United Nations Population Fund documents extensive gender inequality and discrimination against women and girls and discusses the effects of this discrimination on individuals and societies. vedamsbooks.com/women.htm, books on women's studies published in India. Vedams Books International has created this useful site to call attention to recent books on women's studies published in India, Bangladesh, and Nepal, and often focusing on women in this area. Voices.cla.umn.edu, Voices from the Gaps, Women Writers of Color, an instructional worldwide website focusing on the lives and works of women writers of color. wagnet.ox.ac.uk, Women and Gender in Chinese Studies Network. WAGNet aims to link European scholarship in Chinese women/gender studies. However, the network is open to scholars throughout the world. WomenAction.org, Women Action, a global information, communication, and media network that enables NGOs to actively engage in the Beijing +5 review process with the long-term goal of women's empowerment, with a special focus on women and media. WomenAgainstRape.net, Against Rape, information on women in Great Britain, including Black, ethnic minority, immigrant, migrant, and refugee women, who have suffered rape, racist sexual assault, or other forms of violence and harassment. WomenICTEnterprise.org, Women's ICT-based enterprise for development. The purpose of the Women's ICT-based Enterprise for Development project is to help increase the number of sustainable ICT-based enterprises run by groups of poor women in developing countries. WomenInc.org, Women, Inc., Women and Development Resources, a project of the International Women's Tribune Center to market and distribute resources on women and development worldwide. Women's History. Dead website, trythoughtco.com, verywell.com, thebalance.com/od/African American Women's History. This dead website, trythoughtco.com, verywell.com, thebalance.com site focuses on the history of African American women from slavery through Reconstruction, Harlem Renaissance, and civil rights. womensnet.org.za, Women.net, South African-based website designed to enable South African women to use the internet to find the people, issues, resources, and tools needed for women's social action. wowugnet.org, WowNet, Women of Uganda Network. WowNet aims to promote the use of information and communication technologies ICTs for the better being of Ugandan women. Chapter 5. Women's Law/Women's Legal. Women's Law websites. LegalMomentum.org, National Judicial Education Program, Women's Rights. abanit.org/women/home.html, the ABBA Commission on Women in the Profession. abanit.org/NAL, National Association of Women Lawyers, American Bar Association. asa.ugl.umich.edu/chdocs/womenpolicy/womenlawpolicy.html. crlp.org, the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy. cwis.uci.edu/women. cwlc.org, California Women's Law Center. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/sharia, Women Legal Rights Under Islamic Law. femina.com. feminist.com. feminist.org. igc.apc.org/women/feminist.html. law.harvard.edu/student/gs/woman_law_journal, Harvard Journal of Law and Gender. law.yukon.edu/library, University of Connecticut School of Law. law-lib.utoronto.ca/diana/maanpage.htm, Women's Human Rights Resources. law-lib.utoronto.ca/diana/maanpage.htm, Women's Human Rights. legalmomentum.org, advances the rights of women and girls. lib.uchicago.edu/lu/women.html, Women in International Law, Research Resources. lib.umich.edu/chdocs/womenpolicy/womenlawpolicy.html, Women's Legal and Public Policy Information. msjd.org. nwlc.org, National Women's Law Center. nal.org, National Association of Women Lawyers. now.org. stanford.edu/group/WLHP, Women's Legal History Biography Project. teleport.com/tilde-bluezoc. topics.law.edu/wex/feminist_jurisprudence. feministlawprofs.law.sc.edu. uchastings.edu/?PID=118, Hastings Women's Law Journal. realwomenca.com, Real Women of Canada. un.org/womenwatch, Women Watch, the on-internet gateway to the advancement and empowerment of women. wm.edu/law/publications/womenandlaw.shtml. womenlaw.stanford.edu, Women in the Legal Profession womensarticles.com. womenslaw.org. womenslaw.org, Women's Law Initiative. womenslawproject.org, Equality for Working Women. equalrights.org, Women's Law Center in San Francisco that fights for the economic, social, and political equality of women and girls. ABBA Center on Children and Law. 740 15th Street Northwest. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-662-1000. Association of Family and Conciliation Courts. 608-251-4001. Booklet Child Support. National Center for Women and Family Law Incorporated. 799 Broadway, Room 4024. NYC 10003. 212-674-8200. Fax, 212-533-5104. National Organization for Women's Legal Defense and Education Fund. 99 Hudson Street. NYC 10036. 212-925-6635. Fax, 212-226-1066. Women's Legal Defense Fund. 1875 Connecticut Avenue. NW. Number 710. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-986-2600. Fax, 202-986-2539. Feminism website / feminist websites. The Female Eunuch, written by Germaine Greer in the 1960s, is sometimes hailed as the pioneering book of feminism. She wrote another book in 1999 called The Whole Woman. Books about feminism are at hashtag 305.42, hashtag 306.874 or HQ730 HQ1220 at the library. feministlawprofs.law.sc.edu. topics.law.cornell.edu/wex/feminist_jurisprudence. feministy.us/blog. feministyzine.com. lilythgallery.com/feminist. wings.org, Women's News Service. awd.org, Women's Rights in Development. iblamethepatriarchy.com. thefeminist.org. telegraph.co.uk/news/1538617/sexandpower.html. erraticimpact.com/feminism. radicalwomen.org. amptunes.com/blog/alas-a-blo angry black woman. vsw.ca, the Vancouver Status of Women is a feminist collective. unm.edu/AC Chavez, Anti-Feminist Reflections. happyfeminist.typepad.com. goddesscafe.com. feministyzine.com. eserver.org/feminism/gender/issues.txt. iblamethepatriarchy.com. melodramatic.com. feministing.com. ffrf.org, the Free Thought Feminist. ifeminists.com. happyfeminist.typepad.com. wellesley.edu/women's review, the Women's Review of Books, a feminist guide to good reading. vixw.org, US Virgin Islands Commission on the Status of Women. nwsa.org, National Women's Studies Association. crlp.org, the Center for Reproductive Law and Policy. blackfeminism.org. waf.gn.apc.org/articles.htm, Women Against Fundamentalism. peacewomen.org. bushinc.com/sunshine/book-some/moses1.html. globalwomenstrike.net. thesomryans.com. The Somryans is a nature religion which emphasizes earth-based living, raw food eating, and empowering women. iwf.org, Independent Women's Forum. cwfa.org, Concerned Women for America. sapphireblue.com/dissident_feminists/factions.shtml. thefword.org.uk. feminist.com/resources/art-speech/genwom/cyberfeminism.html. kursplebdev.com/mystuff/book/fem_books.html. femininezone.com. feministafrica.org. cosmicvariance.com/2006/06/01/feminism-destroying-the-planet africaonline.co.ke/femnet/default_e.htm. agenda.org/za. asa.ugl.lib.umich.edu/chdocs/women policy/women-policy/feminist.html. asiatica.org. bamboogirl.com, feminist lesbian Filipino. bust.com, feminist Generation X style. bitchmagazine.com. classiclit. dead website, trythoughtco.com, verywell.com, thebalance.com/library/bl-etext/mwallstoneabout, Vindication on the Rights of Women, Mary Wollstonecraft. cwis.uci.edu/women. cipher.esusda.gov/11/a/state/hrcr, Human Rights Around the World. earthsdaughters.org. edc.org/women's equity, 800-225-3088, Gender Fair Educational Resources. english-hss.cmu.edu/feminism.html. envirolink.org/arrs/far/newsletter, Feminists for Animal Rights. equalitynow.org, Equality for Women. female.com, fembnews.com, femina.com, feminist.com, feminist.org, feminista.com, femina.cybergirl.com, femina.com, feminist.org/911/911jobs.html, feminista.com, feminist.com/health.htm, feministpress.org, feministstudies.org, haverford.edu/libraries/reference/mshow/mfi/mfi.html, medieval feminist index, hereisons.ca hers.com, hrw.org, Human Rights Watch, htcfl.org, Girls with Acid Burns, humanrights.org, ibd.nrc.ca/grave accent mansfield/effeminism, ic.org/eco, feminist eco-villages, icrw.org, International Center for Research on Women, igc.apc.org/women/feminist.html, igc.org/igc/womensnet, ijm.org, Sexual Slavery, inform.umd.edu/edrays/topic/women's studies/employment, inform.umd.edu/edrays/topic/women's studies, innertraditions.com, books The Path of the Priestess and the Goddess in Every Girl, develop your teen feminine power, isis.or.ug, islandnet.com/room/enter, iwf.org, iwn.org, Israeli Women, labyrinthnews.com, law-lib.utoronto.ca/Diana, Women's Human Rights, law.uc.edu/Diana, Human Rights, library.berkeley.edu/bank/rojo/o online/suffragists.html, Suffragist Movement, library.ucsb.edu/subjects/blackfeminism, lilyfine.com, Therapist, lm.com/lman/feminist, maximag.com, msvu.ca/Atlantis, nova.edu/interlinks/diversity.html, now.org, offorbacks.org, was.on.ca/rfr, was.utoronto.ca/rfr, palgrave-journals.com/fr, pdhre.org/struggle/women/csw, peterlamg.com, Feminist Studies, phrusa.org/campaigns, pond.net/ckeinberg/bridges, Jewish Feminists, princeton.edu/prom/cm, prometheusbooks.com, rabeli.ca, ra.org, Afghanistan Freedom, rinbo.org, ssills.rutgers.edu/special/k/femsites.html, sealpress.com, sensesofcinema.com/02/22/basie-moy.html, shift.com, Feminist, socialism.com, sosig.esrc.bris.ac.uk/subjects/effeminism.html, spinsters-inc.com, swc-cfc.gc.ca, Status of Women in Canada, simpatico.ca/CRIA, Canadian Institute for the Advancement of Women, simpatico.ca/Vox Feminarum, teleport.com/bluzok, tve.org/life, Women's Rights, umich.edu/mfsed, uni-coln.de/phil-fake/englishish/datenbank/e_index.htm, un.org/womenwatch, info on the status of women worldwide, upperzest.umn.edu/by-series/feminist.html, wam.umd.edu/ct-munson/fm_kiosk.html, feminism. Wherenet.org, Women's Human Rights. wisc.edu/libraries/women's studies. woman-kind.com. womenforwomen.org. women'salliance.com. womensquarterly.com. wsu-libs.wsu.edu/ris/risweb.isa, women, work, and gender. yourq.ca/org/cwscf, Women's Studies. Feminist Resources. Federation of Feminist Women's Health Centers. 633 East 11th Avenue. Eugene, Oregon, 97401. 503-344-0966. Feminist Bookstore News. POB 882554. San Francisco, California, 94188. 415-626-1556. Fax, 415-626-8970. Feminist Press. City University, New York. 311 East 94th Street. NYC 10128. 212-360-5790. Feminist Voices. POB 853. Madison, Wisconsin, 53701-0853. 608-241-9765. Fund for the Feminist Majority. 1600 Wilson Boulevard. Number 801. Arlington, Virginia, 22209. 703-522-2214. Heresies. POB 1306, Canal Street, STA. NYC 10013. 212-227-2108. Feminism Magazine. Human Rights Watch. Women Rights Project. 1522 K St. N.W. Number 910. Washington, D.C. 20005. 202-371-6592. hrw.org. International Women's Rights Action Watch. Humphrey Institute of Public Affairs. U of MN. 301 19th Avenue. S. Minneapolis, Minnesota, 55455. umn.edu. Labyrinth Newspaper. POB 59285. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19102. 215-546-6686. Fax, 215-546-1156. Ms. Foundation. 120 Wall Street. NYC 10005. 212-742-2300. National Organization for Women. 1000 16th Street Northwest. Number 700. Washington, D.C. 20036. 202-331-0066. now.org. Pro-Feminist Women's Group. National Women's Party. 144 Constitution Avenue. NE. Washington, D.C. 20002. 202-546-1210. Off Our Backs. 2423 18th Street Northwest. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-234-8072. Feminist Magazine. Press Gang Publishers. 1723 Grant Street. Vancouver, BC V5L2Y6. 604-251-3315. Fax, 604-251-3329. Pressgang.bc.ca. Spinsters Inc. Magazine. POB 300170. Minneapolis, Minnesota 55403. 612-558-9655. United Nations Development Fund for Women. 304 East 45th Street. NYC 10017. 212-906-6400. UN.org. Women of Power. POG 2785. Orleans, Massachusetts 02653. 508-240-7877. What She Wants Feminist Library. POG 18465. Cleveland, Ohio 44118. 216-321-3054. Women's Legal Defense Fund. 1875 Connecticut Avenue. NW. Number 710. Washington, D.C. 20009. 202-986-2600. Women's Press. 180 Bloor Street West. Number 801. Toronto, on M5S2V6. 416-929-2774 fax, 416-929-1926. aprince@csbi.org. womenspress.ca. Feminist. Womenwise. C/O Concord Feminist Health Center. 38 South Main Street. Concord, Minnesota 03301. 603-225-2739. World Health Organization. Department of Women's Health. Health Systems and Community Health AB. Appia 20, CH 1211. Geneva 27, Switzerland. WHO.ch. Free information.